please. Off it. Go to your room, please. Don't do it. Yes, good evening. Okay. All right. So you can start now.
Everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Vale of Whiteboard's Oxfordshire District Council Planning Committee. I'm Councillor Max Thompson and I'll be chairing this meeting. This meeting is being held at our office in Abbey House, Abingdon. Voting members are here in person as required, but officers and public speakers are able to join remotely if they wish through Microsoft Teams. The meeting is also being streamed live and recorded on the Council's YouTube for public viewing. I have three procedural matters. So firstly, for those joining remotely, when you're not speaking, please ensure your microphone is muted and your camera is off. Public speakers must only have their cameras on and be unmuted when addressing the committee or answering questions of clarification in their designated slots, and I'll let you know about those. Number two, if councillors wish to ask a question or participate in debate, please raise your hand and I'll call upon you in turn. And three, finally, as a modern council, both officers and members will use their electronic devices throughout the meeting. I have four housekeeping announcements. So the most important is evacuation procedure. In the event of an emergency, please evacuate the building by the nearest exit, which is on the corridor out there immediately to your right, and stand at assembly point 9 in the outside area beyond the fire exit. The Democratic Services Officer, we have Lucy Ashton here, will assist you with that. On arriving at the meeting, you should have read the emergency evacuation procedure, assume that's been read, and signed the fire register, so please inform Democratic Services if you have not done so. Number two, can everyone please ensure their mobile telephones are on silent or off throughout the course of the meeting? Three, members of the public who wish to leave the meeting after the application that they're interested in being debated are very welcome to do so via the front door and reception, but please do so quietly and please do not engage with members of the committee as you leave. And then four, when the meeting is ended, I'll ask for confirmation the live stream has ended. At that point, please leave the virtual meeting if you're joining online, or make the way out of the building, remembering to sign out as you leave. And just a final point, this is a meeting in public, not a public meeting. And I ask that members of the public, both those attending here in person and those attending virtually, ensure they do not shout out or disrupt the committee's deliberations outside of those who've registered to speak in their allocated slots. Right, that's it for me on my announcements. So item 2, Lucy, apologies for absence. Have we got any apologies this evening?
Yes, Chair. We have apologies for Councillors Mike Pinkhills and Kira Bentley and Councillor Dan Lagova in September.
Thank you so much. Would you mind taking a roll call?
Yes. Councillor Max Thompson.
Yes, certainly.
Councillor Val Shaw.
Here.
Councillor Ron Batstone.
Here.
Councillor Jenny Hannaby.
Here.
Councillor Scott Bolton.
Here.
Councillor Diana Lagova. Here. Councillor Robert Madison.
Here.
And Councillor Jill Rayner. Here.
Thank you so much. I now turn to the minutes of the Planning Committee meeting held on the 10th of June 2026. Are there any comments, or can I have a motion to accept those as an accurate record? Councillor.
Can I have the motion to accept the minutes?
Perfect. And is that seconded? Councillor Orson. Thank you very much. So all those in favour of adopting those, that's unanimous. All those against? Any abstentions? One abstention, but those are carried, and I will sign those at the end of the meeting. Agenda item 4 is declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations this evening? Councillor Rayner.
Sunday down on item 1 as a ward member.
Okay, and thank you very much. Agenda item 5 is urgent business. Have we got any urgent business, Emily?
No, thank you.
No urgent business this evening. Right. And then finally, public participation. We have a number of speakers on the application land use of Kingston Bagviews. and I'll give you some guidance as and when those timings occur. Hopefully you've been given guidance prior to the meeting about timings and things along those lines. Right, so with that, I'm going to turn to Catherine Pearce, who's going to talk us through application land east of Kingston Bagviews, agenda item 7.
Sorry, the OT is a bit slow today. Thank you, Chair. Land east of Kingston Bagviews was allocated in Local Plan Part 2 for around 600 homes. Outline planning permission was sought by a land promoter and secured in April 2024 for up to 660 homes. Now we have to wait for the slides to catch up. And up to 70 unit extra care, local centre, 1 form-entry primary school, open space, roundabout onto the A420 and the A415, and a road linking the two. And had the slide moved on, you would have seen an illustrative master plan showing you what was approved outline, although I must say it is not listed as an approved plan, it is just illustrative.
Would you like to try and exit and then go back into it so we can, if possible?
Right, maybe it's in slideshow.
Not move.
Yeah. I think it's just slow. So Section 106 agreement accompanying the outline permission include provision for a cricket ground, 2 cricket nets, machinery store and pavilion. And the site was subsequently bought by a house builder who has submitted this Section 73 application to vary conditions 4, 6 and 9 of the outline permission, and to update or remove other conditions that have already been discharged or added. These variations seek to revise the drainage strategy, revise the open space by removing on-site cricket facilities, which you can see down in the south there on the illustrative master plan, to introduce a wildlife exclusion zone along the western boundary, extend the residential development slightly further south, an update to the play strategy to reflect the Section 106 agreement, and to amend the market housing mix by swapping 2 3-bed houses for 2 4-bed houses. Appendix 2 of the committee report contains the approved and proposed parameter plans side by side, so you can see the differences. And here are the 2 green infrastructure plans. So in terms of the changes to the parameter plans, they're fairly minor, and they've come about through working up detail for the reserve matters and climate agreements as a sort of standard when going through applications. The changes have been considered by specialist officers and found to be acceptable. The key issue of disagreement is the removal of cricket facilities to be replaced with open space to the south there. It was quite difficult to get photos of the site because of security fencing all around it, but here is a photo of the southern part where the cricket pitch would be, and you can see it's quite a sort of flat open site. And here's some photos of the current cricket and football vision. So this is the driveway access into the parking. Got the pavilion there on the right, nets and pitch. The current pavilion building. And And here's a very crude map I've put together, showing you context of the site. So it's approximately 38 hectares on the eastern end of Kingston Backviews, and I've outlined the sport and leisure facilities in blue. Over the road from the site is the sports field and pavilion that I just showed you some photographs of, which is home to Kingston Colts Football Club and Kingston Backviews Cricket Club. The field accommodates a cricket pitch, 2 adult football pitches, 2 junior pitches and 2 mini pitches, according to the website Pitch Finder. If this is inaccurate, I'm sure someone will pick me up on it with some of the later speakers. And the 2 clubs, the football and cricket club, share the facilities that you've just seen. So more photographs for you. To the west of the site is the bowling green and clubhouse buildings, and adjacent to that we've got the Millennium Green, which is a nature reserve with public access, so dogs are not allowed. There are spaces to walk, picnic benches, outdoor gym equipment, space to kick a ball around. This is the village hall, and adjacent to that there are 4 tennis courts with club building. This is the on the recreation ground. It's a small multi-use games area, football goals, and there is a basketball court and table tennis table. This is an illustrative landscape master plan submitted with the current application, just for comparison. The parish council has explained they would like more large recreation spaces in the village for dog walkers, picnics, etc. They would like open space on site to be used for these purposes rather than the cricket pitch. They point out that there are a few public footpaths in and around the village to provide access to open countryside, and that green spaces around the village have been lost to development. They would like the proposed cricket pavilion to be provided as a community building for hire. Sport England, Oxfordshire Cricket and Kingston Backviews Cricket Club have put forward evidence regarding the growth of cricket in the village and at district and county level, which is supported by the council's playing pitch strategy. It is intended that the secured cricket facility on site would accommodate additional demand from the development and also would be used by other clubs in the district and by Oxfordshire Cricket for their pathway teams as a hub for their juniors, women and disability cricket. I'm sure we'll hear more about that later. As explained in the report, cricket facilities have not been secured on any other strategic sites in the Vale other than on Vale Park. So if they were removed from this site, it would fall to the next local plan to find a suitable location for them. Some of the local community, including the parish council, do not consider that another cricket pitch is needed to serve the village. Instead, they would like the money, circa £1.8 million, to be spent on supporting all sporting facilities in the village, and I've shown you those today. In addition, the parish council has plans to purchase land for sport and recreation for the village. They intend to provide a full-size multi-use games area on the land, and the land would also give them further scope for sport and recreation provision in the future. However, further work on this alternative package needs to be done to ensure it is compliant with the community infrastructure levy regulations and in accordance with the development plan. A detailed list of heads of terms is set out to ensure this. In reference to the heads of terms, I'd like to advise the committee that upon taking legal advice, to consider the 10 years for the spend of the financial contribution by the parish council to be too long, and we suggest this is amended to 3 years, extendable by agreement inviting up to 5 years in total. This ability to extend the period could be used where progress is demonstrated or there's a phased delivery. We'd also suggest adding what's known as a sunset clause, so that requires the application to be brought back to planning committee if the section 6 agreement is not completed within a certain time frame. And we were sort of thinking 6 to 9 months to allow for that. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll return to you for some questions once we've heard our public speakers on this application. We have 4 categories of speakers this evening. The first is Representative Kingston Baggage and Southmore Parish Council, Virginia Grant. Virginia Grant, you have, please. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us this evening. You'll have 3 minutes in total. I think you get a warning at 30 seconds, and then there might be some questions for clarification for you from the committee. Please. Whenever you're ready.
Good evening. I'm Chairman of Kingston Baggies with Southmore Parish Council. The Parish Council is not opposed to cricket or the provision of cricket facilities in principle. However, it is opposed to the provision of additional cricket facilities within the parish where cricket is already well served, including overflow facilities in Appleton. Support for other sports such as netball, basketball, five-a-side football, bowls and tennis should be considered equally important, and members of these clubs are here this evening. We believe it is the responsibility of the Parish Council and of all those who serve this community to take the account of local views and act in the best interests of residents at parish level rather than at district level. This distinction is important given the stated focus of Oxfordshire Cricket on creating a district hub. The monies involved for sports and recreation should surely be invested in facilities for the local community and not for the wider district or indeed county, especially given the lack of adequate parking and other transport infrastructure necessary for a county hub. This position reflects the strong and frequently expressed views of the community the Parish Council serves. These views have been shared on numerous occasions, including at 2 village dates, each attended by more than 1,200 people, at Parish Council meetings and through individual representations to parish councillors from this representative cross-section of the community. The consensus view is that additional alternative recreational, leisure and sports facilities are needed to serve the residents of Kingston Baggies with Southmore. Additional cricket facilities, especially when many club members are not village residents, would not fairly serve all the age groups in our community. The village population has greatly increased in the last 13 years with the numerous housing developments which have provided minimal improvements or additions to the local infrastructure. Significant green space within the village has been lost, and with it the loss of suitable areas for recreation and dog walking. Granting this application will also guarantee the provision for year-round access for all village residents to the large proposed green space in Ferrers Green. The parish and local authority cannot just provide facilities currently seen as necessary, but must also have a view to future use, considering the additional demands which the larger community will reasonably expect. The applicants, David Wilson Homes, have over the last 18 months held regular meetings with the Parish Council discussing the green space allocation and its use, and also the current lack of adequate infrastructure in the village. We hugely appreciate how they have responded to our concerns, and that this application proposes both additional provision for football, improved sports facilities to benefit various village sports clubs. The Parish Council has prepared a draft heads of agreement for the purchase of additional land as part of the initial commissioning of that site. The Council intends to provide a full five-a-side Muga to FA requirements, together with appropriate facilities to support football and a wider range of court-based sports. On behalf of Kingston Baggies with Southmore Parish Council, I ask you to agree with the Planning Office recommendation that this application is granted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll see if there are any questions or clarification for you from members of the committee. Oh yes, Council.
Sorry, just think I'll phrase it. So you mentioned this. I won't actually go into too much detail because I appreciate it's still being talked about by the lawyers. The land that the Parish Council is looking to purchase.
Yes.
But what other sports are you planning on? Is that planning to be used for? Obviously we said that you don't need the extra cricket provision. What other sports do you need provision for?
Well, I think we have a single basketball hoop. It would be good to have two. It would be good to be able to do things like walking football, which will be discussed later in another presentation. This is something which is for all ages, particularly those who might have some disability, who enjoy football, who've been watching the World Cup, but won't play it, but in a sedate way. We would have a Muga which was sufficiently big, FA standards, or even perhaps a little bit bigger, so it could be marked out for the various sports. And of course, because it would be an all-weather surface, so it could be used in times of extreme drought when the grass is dead, but also in times when the ground is very wet, if we go by the last 3 winters when we've had heavy winter rainfall. And the Parish Council, which will be taking full responsibility for this in perpetuity, we would then look to increase sports facilities as we had more monies available. So we applied to have the new development included in parish, which means we will have a precept, which means we will then be able to consider other facilities which all the residents, and what we really feel very strongly about is that we've embraced the new residents in Kingston Baggies. The population was just over 2,000 in 2013. It was just under 4,000 in 2021, and it's now well over 4,000. We've embraced them all, and they've become part of the community. But we need to provide services for them, and recreation and sports certainly, but also dog walking and all those things which they've not been able to do easily because those fields, which were in the middle of the village, have been lost to development.
I have one quick question for clarification. We're being asked, our officer has suggested that we managed to improve the application, we would amend it such that there would be a 3-year rather than a 10-year period, which they can be completed with a 2-year extension, 5 years. Without going into details, because of course these are going to be confidential and sensitive, but does the parish council believe that 3 years is sufficient time in which to hopefully procure land in this case and put forward?
Our concerns are that the terms of when the money would be available, the first tranche for the purchase of land, which would also do fees for that, is only when the foundations of the first dwelling are dug and started. So if there is a delay in that, then it's a knock-on effect. But if there's not, then yes, we would get on and we could do it. So it's very much it's something we can't say it's going to happen. We hope it's going to happen because this development has been hanging over the village for a long time now, as you are aware, and to have the building starting and getting somewhere would be much appreciated by every resident. So we would hope that, I think being realistic, we would be saying we would be asking with written permission for 5 years, because I think we can't guarantee then the next tranche of money, which at the moment is not meant to come until 300 houses are occupied. So I'm being realistic.
Understood. I might ask our officer about this when we start questions as well. Yes. Thank you. Are there any further questions? Councillor Handy.
Yes, I'm interested in that you want some space for dog walking. Have you got no other areas in the village?
No, they have gone, and then there are areas which are fields which are barred to public access. We have, if you look at a map of our footpaths, there are some at the western end of the village, but there are very few except within the village at the eastern end. There's very, very, very limited facilities because those fields have been lost.
Yeah, and because when we go around listening to our other parishes, they're very concerned about dog walking because they can't do anything else because of some irresponsible owners of dogs. I mean, would that be totally separate than any games or any football?
Well, certainly where there are games, there wouldn't, any facility would be not accessible by dog walkers. I think, if you have a Muga, you spend a huge amount of money on it. You want to make sure that it's used in the correct way.
Thank you.
Can't see any further questions. I'll say thank you very much for your time this evening, Grant, and I will turn to our next categories of speakers. Now, I believe we have 4 people registered to speak against the application, and they're all attending virtually. So I'll try and get the names pronounced correctly. Apologies for that. Nick Pinnell, Rob, Charles Lee Bryan, Jordan Smith, and David Warner. Are you here? You can
yes.
You can unmute yourself and turn your camera on if that helps.
Yes, Chair.
Yes, here.
So I can see who's here. Perfect. Very good. At the moment I can hear you, but I can't see you. Oh, I can see. So I can see Jordan Smith.
Yep.
And very good. Okay, I can see. So there are 3 of you are here. Is it just 3 of you who are going to be speaking on this? Okay. So thank you so much. So hopefully it was explained to you before the meeting. You have 3 minutes between you. I don't know whether you've allocated one person to speak on your behalf and then you can all answer questions, or whether you all tend to take a minute.
So we're going to speak independently.
Okay, independently. Well, in that case, it's up to you, but I advise you take a minute each, if that makes sense, and then you'll all be available to answer questions for us. So who would like to go first?
I'm happy to kick off.
Or you go first, John. Go.
Yeah, I'm happy to kick off.
Perfect, please, when you're ready.
Good evening all. My name is Jordan Smith. I'm the treasurer at Kingston Bagpiece Cricket Club. I wanted to speak on the growth of cricket in the village since the Kingston Park development was completed. So since 2023, we've seen increases in junior cricket over 110%, of adult cricket and over 75%. And in 2025, we put on 76.1% more fixtures than we did in 2023. As mentioned before, we did this by renting and maintaining a second facility from Appleton Parish Council, as our existing site is overwhelmed. I appreciate the proposal to provide funds for our pavilion. However, we're limited by playing space as there's only one pitch on the site, and as mentioned already, there's multiple football pitches. I would call to keep the current plan of cricket of the cricket facility at the new development, to not only sustain this existing demand, but provide a home for the future growth of cricket, as we saw from the Kingston Park development, and we can expect from the new development as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I will pause the time, and then who will let speak next?
I'll speak next.
Please, when you're ready.
Okay. Hello, my name's David Warner. I'm chairman of the Chilwell Cricket League. The league is the largest league in the county and covers 6 counties in total. The area or district of Vale Whitehorse is significantly under funded in cricket facilities, and we have a very large population of cricket players across the region. Our participation numbers have grown double digits over the last 4 years, and this facility would then provide extra opportunity for local people to play. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. I'll pause the clock again, and then please, Nick, if you could speak.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, members of the committee, for this opportunity to speak. My name is Nick Vignol, Managing Director of Oxfordshire Cricket. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the careful work undertaken by your planning officers. I appreciate this is a finely balanced decision. However, Oxfordshire Cricket respectfully asks that you retain the cricket facilities originally secured for this development. When planning permission was granted, the cricket ground wasn't an optional extra. It was an agreed and essential infrastructure to support 600 new homes and a new primary school. Today, that need has only grown. Kingston Bagpies Cricket Club is thriving, participation continues to increase, and the council's own playing pitch strategy confirms there is no surplus cricket provision and identifies this site for additional capacity. This facility would benefit new residents, the existing village, the local cricket club, and the wider district. It would support children, women and girls, disability cricket schools, and healthier communities for generations to come. Investment in existing facilities is welcome, but it cannot create the additional playing space this development was designed to provide. I therefore respectfully ask you to retain the cricket facilities and ensure this development delivers the lasting sporting legacy that it was originally promised. Thank you for your time.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for your time this evening. I think we've got 7 seconds left, but there might be some questions from the committee, so I'll just see if there are any questions for clarification. Councillor Madison.
Thank you, Chair. I suppose this is a question really for Jordan Smith, as he mentioned when you were speaking, Jordan, about the numbers of members in the cricket clubs. You mentioned seeing growth of over 100% in juniors and I think 60% in adults. I was just wondering if you could express that in absolute numbers for us as opposed to a percentage, if you see what I mean.
Sure, I think David might be better. Dave, do you know what the numbers are for the juniors at the moment? I can talk about the seniors, but not so much the juniors.
We've got about 120 members in total at the moment, juniors.
And seniors is about 65 at the moment, and around 20 in the women's adult as well.
Yeah, I would say that those 120 members of juniors, probably 80% of them come from the village and go to John Blanley School.
Are there any further questions? Councillor Horton.
Two, all right, please. So the first one, I think, is probably to either Jordan or David again. You mentioned the current facilities are overwhelmed and you're having to rent a pitch off Appleton Parish Council. So I guess I wanted to get, is it an issue in terms of scheduling and that you've got multiple matches happening at the same time? And is it the pitch that is it pitch space or field space, or is it nets and other facilities like that? Or is it both?
That's a great question. So it's to do partially with the scheduling, but then also the quantity. So how it works is you can have two teams using one pitch because one team will play at home, the other team will play away on any given day. So for example, today on Wednesday, we have two fixtures taking place. One is away and one is at home. However, at the moment, we actually have 3 sides and occasionally have 4 sides playing on Saturday, which is obviously when people play cricket. And that means that we need to rent an additional facility. Appleton Club themselves play on alternate weeks. So next year, when we launch another side, we will actually have to rent another facility as well. The second part of your question, it's to do with playing space, in not so much the nets, because you can have a higher quantity of people in the nets at one time.
Okay, thank you. And then, Chair, if I may do this, and I think this one's probably more aimed at Nick. Our previous speaker mentioned something I didn't quite catch exactly what it was about a county cricket hub. I was wondering if you could go into some more detail on that.
Yes, of course. So the original idea of the facility was to support the growth of the club in the area, but also to provide a home ground for the junior representative teams for Oxfordshire, particularly around our MCC state school hubs, which provides state school children within our pathway, within that area of the county, with the base to fulfill their fixtures, to play against the other areas, but also against other areas across the county. In addition, it would also support our Women and Girls program, as well as our schools program. We deliver to over 12,000 primary school children each year. So again, having this facility would enable us to increase participation and provide a wider range of activities to the new school, but also other schools within close proximity. And finally, in terms of disability cricket, would provide us the opportunity to set up a disability hub within the area to help support the increased growth of disability cricket, to ensure that the game is inclusive for all.
So are there already other, I presume there are already other cricket hubs around the county, and this is another one, or would this be the sort of a new thing?
This would be the first Oxfordshire cricket hub in partnership with the cricket club within the county.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Baxter.
Thank you. Coming back to this cricket hub, this would be lots of people coming from all over Oxfordshire. Are you sure that Kingston and Bagfus can handle the traffic and parking responsibilities that would come with that? I mean, I imagine there'd be an awful lot of traffic involved in a away match. Away matches are often, which is, I think, what you're proposing.
Shall I speak?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the number of players on the side is only 11 on each side. It wouldn't change from a normal Saturday where we play at Kingston. So I can't see as there be an increased traffic. There'll be no more players there. So.
But they'd be coming from all over Oxfordshire rather than locally. So.
Well, people still have to drive.
Have to come by car.
So people still drive to our ground. Even home players drive to our ground.
Yeah. And are there any? Sorry, please. Mr. Warner, sorry, you can finish, please.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So, you know, it's not accessible by walking, and our ground is not accessible really by walking, apart from maybe half a dozen people who live in the houses next to the ground.
Yes, to follow up, the new ground would be accessible by walking from the new estate, I imagine.
It would, but you know, the amount of people that would come from that estate initially would not necessarily be would be playing at the ground.
Yes, thank you.
Are there any further questions? I can't see any, so I'll say thank you very much for your time this evening, for joining us, and for your statements and objections. So thank you very much. I now turn to our next. Thank you very much. I now turn to our next category of speakers. We have, again, I apologise for my terrible pronunciation, Emma Willoughby, Robert Linnell and Sean Keeling. Did I get that right, more or less? Sean, I apologise. Sean Keeling. Excellent. Thank you so much. Please do join us. Hopefully, as was explained, it's 3 minutes between you, and my understanding is 2 of you will be speaking.
2 of us going to speak.
Three for
Rob is there for question.
That's fine. Thank you very much. Please.
We're going to split our time. So
would you like a warning up 90 seconds? Or?
Yes, that would be good.
That's when you're 10 seconds nearly to.
Yeah, so 80 seconds and 90 seconds. Thank you very much. Well, whenever you're ready.
I speak on behalf of Kingston Colts Football Club as the chair and confirm the club's support for this planning application. It also proposes essential recreational space for both existing and new residents of Kingston Bagpies for Southmore, not just members of the cricket club. The proposals allow the parish council to acquire additional land within the village, which would specifically benefit the football club, as well as providing recreational facility for residents who are not club members. Currently, the village sports field is shared between football and cricket clubs, meaning for football, the outfield area, the clan clubhouse are unavailable in the cricket season, which is 5 months each year. This impacts the beginning and end of the season and restricts summer and pre-season training. Establishing an all-weather facility within the village would enable training to continue throughout the cricket season and during instances of poor weather. It would also be available for small-sided team games popular across all age groups, including mini kickers, girls wildcats development and walking football, a rapidly expanding area of the game. For the last 15 years, while involved with the football club, I have supported the development of grassroots football in the village and know both the challenges local communities face regarding football provision and how crucial it is to ensure that football remains accessible and sustainable for both our current and future residents of all ages. Our village sports and social clubs face challenges expanding to accommodate the growing demand. The proposed full-size 5-side Mooga will greatly help in meeting these increased demands and will be accessible to all members of the community.
Okay. To confirm, the Section 106 agreement only allows ownership transfer to either the parish council or a management company, which will be paid for by residents. There is no guarantee that the cricket pavilion and the pitches would actually be open to the local club or the county cricket. I'm happy to take questions about that at the end. As required by the Outline Planning Commission, Dave Wilson Homes has undertaken extensive consultation with the community of Kingston Bagpies with Southmore. The proposed amendments to the leisure provision are as a direct result of that engagement. The NPPF is clear that development proposals should take account of the views of the local community. We, alongside our joint venture partner, SNG, have worked closely with the Parish Council to develop the scheme before members this evening. The Extent Planning Commission secures the provision of a cricket pitch, cricket pavilion and associated cricket facilities on site, together with a financial contribution of more than £1.8 million dedicated exclusively to cricket-related provision. This application proposes a more flexible and inclusive approach, enabling the delivery of multifunctional amenity space for the wider community, together with a community building on site. The associated financial contributions would be distributed across a range of local sports and organisations, including cricket, football, bowls and tennis. In addition, funding is proposed to enable the Parish Council to acquire much-needed additional recreation land within the village and provide a 5-a-side Mooga, equipped play space and ancillary facilities such as parking and toilets. Ownership of this land would also provide the Parish Council with the opportunity to enhance leisure and recreation facilities in the future. These proposals would deliver benefits for the wider community, supporting a broader range of recreational facilities for residents of all ages, benefiting the many, not just the few.
Thank you very much. I'll turn to any questions of clarification from those. So, Councillor Nelson.
Thank you, Chair. The speaker from Kingston and Bagpues with Southmore Parish Council earlier mentioned there'd been a dialogue between Parish Council and David Wilson Homes. Speaking just then, you mentioned a consultation.
You did, yeah.
I was just curious to hear a little bit more about the consultation. How many responses did you get? Was there a split in the responses? Was it close in any way, or was there a clear, favouring of doing one thing over the other?
So this was quite an unusual condition actually within the Outline Planning Commission. So there was a condition in the Outline Planning Commission that was granted by yourselves in 2024 that required public consultation to be undertaken at the reserve matters stage for the green infrastructure on this development. I personally have developed a number of schemes with Dave Wilson Homes in the district and haven't seen that before. But actually what that allowed us to do was to begin that dialogue with the Parish Council. We've met with the Parish Council every month for the last 18 months, but undertook this consultation last summer where we invited the whole community and it was well attended. I don't have the specific numbers to hand. Rob might have those. We can provide them. But it was over. I think we went to the consultation proposing cricket. So our view was when we started this dialogue with the parish council, we had 6 months of saying it's approved under the outline permission, so therefore that's what we would deliver. We went to this consultation, and I'll be honest, we were shocked, because we were the majority of people that were there were enraged that actually the village, I think the amount of people that said to me, I don't want to be living in a village that's got 2 co-ops and 2 cricket pitches, and that's it. And that they were the words from the vast majority of people who came to that consultation. They wanted to see more areas for open space that could be used for, as I said in my speech, benefiting the many, not just the few. I think as somebody mentioned earlier, it's 11 people playing a cricket match, 11 against 11. We want to be able to bring facilities to the village that they actually want, that are going to be able to benefit all of the community. Because actually, I think we should really commend Southmore Parish Council. They openly admit when this was first proposed, they were probably not the most happy about it, but actually they've realised to work with us and tell us what they wanted, rather than just throwing their head in the sand. Actually, they've been able to say, actually, this isn't what we want, but actually we would accept this. And I think that should be really commended, because we don't generally, it's sort of, there's a barrier between parish councils and developers. So yeah, it was an eye-opening consultation. So following that consultation, I think also at that time was the first of the village votes as well. And I know that the parish council and the MP were informed by a lot of residents that they weren't happy with the proposals being put out there in the public domain for the cricket at that stage.
Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. This is probably for Emma. What's the current relationship between the football club and the cricket club? So who owns the land, who owns the pavilion, who gets first say on what can happen when, etc.?
So we obviously have 2 seasons. So football season generally doesn't finish because we start early September. Some of us still playing in May. The children want to carry on training all through the summer. However, there is limited space there. So at the end of March, we hand over the outfield at that point, so that the cricket can get it ready for the new season. We have to change our matches, where our matches are being held. We have to make sure they're away from home. Sometimes they get cancelled because we haven't got the facility to do that. So we can play on the outside pitches, but in the outfield itself is probably 2 small ones and a 9-a-side pitch. So there's 2 5s and a 9 will fit in that area. The 11 either side encroach on the outfield, but we can carry on at that point. So we let cricket carry on playing until they finished all of their league matches. So we normally start the season again away from home, and then we hand over. And so it's kind of working like that. We've had to do that for sort of many years now.
And what is the ownership structure of the current setup? Is it owned by the cricket club? Is it owned by the football club? Is it owned by the parish council?
It's owned by the parish. So, yes, but we have a long lease on it between the 2 clubs to use it. Okay. So I think there's something like 125 years left.
Is it worth saying that we did talk with Emma when we first came on board, and when we had the sort of outcry of no more cricket? Could we put the football facility on this site in that specific large green area? But because of the heritage constraints and the view cone to Kingston Badger's house, you can't use that area for football because of lighting bits and pieces, which was a big thing through the outline application. So as I understand it, through the outline, we didn't obtain the outline application. That was one of the first things that was looked at, but it was to do with the heritage issues, hence why cricket was approved. So it was approved because ultimately it was deemed that football was a real need in the village, but because of the heritage issues, you couldn't locate football facilities in that location.
it was more the fact that it wasn't big enough as well. So to fit 2 11-side pitches and a 7 and a 9, that it just wasn't it wasn't feasible to do that. So I mean, I was involved with the meeting a long way before that even, and we potentially looked at that point of the cricket moving over there, but then down the line it disappeared, and this is sort of how it ended up. But yeah, as it stands, it wouldn't be big enough to host the pitches that are there.
And the new facility that the parish council are looking at acquiring, I've got heads terms agreed on, is 7 acres, so it's a large area.
Just a couple of things at this stage. I just have to remind everyone that unfortunately our procedures are such that it's only questions of clarification, and only people who are currently speaking are able to answer those questions. Now, I do bear in mind that we asked some quite open-ended questions, and actually I think the one on consultation was particularly important to have a long response to, but if I can remind us to try and keep answers relatively concise. Councillor Hannaby, I think you were next.
Yeah, sounds a little bit like cricket and football walls a bit from where I'm here. And so I know about cricket, and I know our cricket area in my area is really suffered, trying to find pitches, etc. And again, with football, it's always difficult to...
I think there's lots of people that share.
Yeah, look, I'm trying to find out that share, because from what you're saying, it's not coming to me clear that you could share the spaces. That's what it's coming to me at the moment. So is cricket more dominant than football at the moment, as it is arranged at the moment?
I don't think so. We have definite set times where we hand over. So there is a definite agreement that at this point we hand over the use of the sort of large outfield and the clubhouse. So that's, and it's pretty much stayed like that for the last few years, certainly since we've had the new clubhouse.
So what do you want to happen now then?
For a football club,
yeah.
Well, I'd like us to be able to have more teams, which means more space. I'd like them to be able to carry on training throughout the summer. I'd like to be able to protect the pitch space, the grass space that we've got, give it the renovations time to work, which means not training on it throughout the summer. Hence why an all-weather facility would be perfect, because you can actually then train multiple times in one evening, because they would have an hour and then they would swap over, and you're not having that overly used.
We want to protect the cricket go then.
Well, the cricket. In terms of the new.
Yeah, but could you share the area, or would that be detrimental to the cricket club?
Probably, I think.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
It's a difficult situation. But I want to, as a councillor, understand. I know both. I know football and cricket in our area. I'm also was about when the Vale took their when we looked at all our sports, etc. I was part and parcel of that consultation as a councillor here, and I know how difficult it was.
I understand that they want a good surface, and football would generally destroy that a lot of the time. And with all good intentions, it's not always possible to put it back.
Thank you. That's fine. Thank you.
I think Councillor Gover, then Councillor Horton. Councillor Gover.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned that during this consultation with the residents, there was majority.
Sorry?
There was majority against cricket. So could you indicate how much was that majority? Like 50%, 60%?
I would say it was well over probably 85 to 90.
Okay.
85 to 90 percent.
It's overwhelming majority. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to clarify something on the current state previous application, which obviously the outline says there should be cricket facilities. Am I right in thinking that is the outline application said there should be a cricket pitch and a new pavilion on the new site, in addition to the cricket pitch and pavilion that's on the opposite side?
Oh yes, so the existing facilities, to make that clear, the existing facilities that are there are not going anywhere.
No,
they are there in perpetuity.
My question is what the current application, the current permission says, and I'm trying to figure out whether it is just a field that you people have to cross the road from the existing facilities, or whether it is a entirely new facility. So in theory, there could be two clubs on opposite sides of the road. If you see
so it's only to be clear, it's only a junior sports pitch that is approved. It's not a full-size adult pitch, because it wouldn't fit on. So it was on the master plan that was shown. It was actually shown as two pitches, but the 106 only ever required one junior pitch.
Okay.
And then it required a cricket pavilion building that would be specifically for the cricket. The one thing that I mentioned at the beginning of the speech, though, is in terms of the ownership of that, 106 is very clear. It is either transferred to the parish council. If they do not accept it, it then is transferred to our residents management company and paid for by our residents. There is no guarantee, and I appreciate what Nick is saying, and please don't get me wrong, I am not anti-cricket. We are very, I would love to have conversations with Nick about how we could provide a hub within the wider district, because we do have other sites and other land that I think would actually be more appropriate from a transport perspective, as Ron picked up on, that Councillor Batstone picked up on, rather than at Kingston Magpies. But that is, we have to go with what is in the approved section 106. And at this moment in time, that 106, if the parish do not take on that facility, it goes to our management company, our residents, to pay for. We have had it quoted at over £250, £300 per resident, per household, to pay for that. And again, I personally don't feel that that would be appropriate for our residents to have to pay for that facility when they probably would not be using it. And I think that's a high cost to pay.
Thank you. Are there any final questions or clarification? I wish to say thank you very much for your statements this evening. And now for our last speaker on this application, Councillor Gilroy. I think you're very familiar with the rules. So as you know, you've got 3 minutes and you've got a 30-second warning, and there might be questions, clarification for you from them. But whenever you're ready.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, committee members. I speak tonight as Ward Councillor in strong support of the proposed planning amendments for land east of Kingston Bagpies. Specifically, I urge the committee to approve the removal of the proposed cricket pitches in favour of a multifunctional green leisure area. It's critical to note that when the negotiations for the original Section 106 agreement were finally complete, our current Jubilee Pavilion was only just opened, and now 3 years later, it's highly regarded and, as stated on Kingston Bagpies Cricket Club website, is rated as one of the top 5 pitches to play in the entire county. Opposing these unnecessary extra pitches is not anti-cricket. It's pro all sports without favour, pro community, pro diversity, pro youth position, and an example of a collaborative approach between all parties that takes in needs and views. Our village they asked for the views. We got them. More facilities for existing sport enthusiasts, opportunities to try a diverse range of sports without driving to Abingdon or Oxford, and somewhere to go other than the pub, which is quite interesting. The World Cup may have inspired an entire generation of young Jude Bellinghams or Leah Williams right here, but not in our village. Our youth have nowhere to train, nowhere to play. Removing these restricted cricket pitches frees up space and resources to deliver flexible football, basketball, youth spaces for our community, and it's crying out for it. The parish council's fought hard to secure land for a Muga to incorporate all, and our village does not need a cricket crease that would serve another 80 residents. It needs modern, informal youth facilities, multi-use play areas, accessible spaces to gather safely, socialise, have fun, keep active, regardless of age, gender or sexuality. Furthermore, the new community building will no longer be a locked sports pavilion reserved just for match days, but a flexible year-round civic hub that transforms a single-use building into a diverse asset that fosters true social cohesion. This amendment unlocks a massive win-win for everyone. Our sports clubs directly benefit as the Section 106 financial contributions will be renegotiated to be reinvested, consolidating sports community rather than fracturing it. The amendment is a result of extensive consultation. The voice of our residents asked for park over pitch. I hope you manage to approve this amendment and in doing so support an inclusive, sustainable and vibrant future for Kingston Bagpies. It's simply the right thing to do.
Thank you, Councillor Rayner. I'll see if there are any questions. Not Andy.
Yeah. Do you think this proposal then would have a detrimental effect on the people and the children that are playing cricket at this moment?
I can't see how.
So you believe that they could sit side by side and work together then, so that there's cricket as well, because cricket's always been an issue as well, but I'm hearing that football has been the issue in your. I'm not getting the vibes that they could be working together, but do you believe that both the cricket and the football and the others could fit in that area and that you would not lose?
Of course, because they'd be in different spaces.
Yeah, but you would not lose cricket.
Oh goodness knows.
No, that's what I'm trying to find.
The cricket club is
I'm
well respected.
asking that so that I understand that you'll have a varied football, cricket, mugger, whatever, and somewhere for the dogs to walk.
Indeed, win-win.
Are there any other questions? I can't see any, so I'll say thank you very much for your time, Councillor Newley.
Thank you, Chair.
With that, I'm going to suggest we turn to questions for questions we have. Are there any questions for the Catherine? I mean, I guess I'll start off on the question I asked about this of 3 years with 2 year extension. So as I understand it, at the moment, where we want to approve it would be 10 years. Could you expand on why legal have suggested 3 years with a 2 year extension, like the rationale behind that and the reasons why that's being recommended in a bit more detail?
Certainly, I think 10 years is a long time, and the financial contribution would depreciate over that new time, and just to ensure that we're going to collect enough money to deliver what is proposed. We think a shorter time period to make sure there is enough money to do that. I think that's the sort of thinking behind it. Yeah.
I was a little confused though, so please forgive me, it's probably my ignorance. So the money only gets released once foundations are built on the site, is that right? So how would that work with this sort of 3 years plus 2 years, etc.? So I just want to be clear on this. So as I understand, and forgive me, I mean the outline I was part of approving it, but it was a long time ago. So if the money is released when foundations are laid, what happens then if foundations are not laid for 2 or 3 years in terms of the securing of that money, I guess?
As we haven't started drafting the Section 106 agreement yet, we haven't actually, there isn't a trigger as yet. Right. I mean, it's usually, I think we discussed it being commencement. Okay. And there are all sorts of definitions of commencement. So yes.
And I guess there's a presumption that given the applicant's been engaged in consultation with the local community, that it's something that there will be ongoing discussions on in terms of when commencement will happen. And I mean, yeah. So I think I understand that. I don't know. There might be some other questions on this as well. So I'll let me get my head around it. Councillor Gover.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Actually, just I want to kind of follow up your initial question, because again, just obviously it's kind of conditional, so it really just payment conditional and assigned to specific trigger. So is it possible to include there like within, just you put the period of time, until like this milestone reached or something like that? So just we have this kind of flexibility. So if it's going to extend just over, 3 years or something, there is still kind of legal obligations to go ahead with that.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at all that sort of stuff in the drafting. We can think about and certainly the locations.
Yeah, but just you have the trigger, even the trigger outside of this timeline that was initially proposed. Just we have something else that's still kind of they still have obligations to go ahead with that.
I think with what we've done is Catherine's broken down the heads of terms in a bit more detail than typically would have. And it is milestones sort of driven around valuations, which we feel are important before we release the money, because it's public money. And What we want to do though, as Catherine has said, 10 years, that's
yeah,
appreciate.
yeah.
But I think we are seeing positive progress. What we'd like to see is some flexibility built into that.
Yeah.
So that's something we would look at, because yes, we wouldn't want to see them very close to it and then suddenly an arbitrary timeline comes down and that stops it. So yes, we will be looking at how we can be pragmatic around that, but still protecting sort of the council's position and assurance.
Because I understand parish council, they worry about that specifically to be put in this situation when they practically kind of, just helpless, just on there, and they have this kind of legal limits around them. So yeah, kind of that's if it could be addressed like that.
Yeah. And sorry, just on this as well, like in terms of the amendment that's being proposed to this, and what would the wording be? Because at the moment here it says if money isn't spent in 10 years, the money can be spent on any sport or leisure project in the district. Are we changing that to the money isn't spent into? Is that the bit we're changing, or just so I'm clear?
Yeah, that would be the bit that would say within 3 years or by written agreement extended to 5.
Okay.
This is just sort of headlines of terms, so the actual wording will change.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. I'll take some further questions. Councillor Hanley.
Yeah, I'm just I'm just looking here at our leisure officer. He's got no further comments, but his original was objection. Does that mean he's still objecting?
Yes, I think because the amended plans didn't sort of address the nub of their issue, which was the loss of the cricket. So, yes.
Yes, and that is what I'm concerned about as well, because a lot of work went in to make sure that at that time it was difficult to get pictures, and it still is, actual fact. So I just wanted to, I'm understanding what the residents are saying, but we have got an objection from our leisure officer, and I know that is part and parcel of cricket in our leisure provision. So I'm having a bit of a struggle here about will this kill off the cricket altogether in the village or not?
Is that a question for officers?
Yeah, I'm just saying, has that question been asked, that there will be space for cricket?
I don't think it would necessarily kill off cricket in the village because they still have the existing.
They've still got the existing.
Yes.
Yes. So I really need to be very clear, because I'm very conscious that cricket has always been the poor relation with areas here, and I can feel a bit of tension in whatever. So we need to make a decision on understanding what actually the village and the existing cricket club will have in the state of things once it's all done. But if you understand where I mean.
I think this will definitely come up in debate, I think, as well.
Yeah,
so.
but I'm just asking if the fact that our leisure officer, and we don't usually get objections, but we have one.
Yeah, if we can, so you do. Any further questions for our officer? So I'm going to suggest, if there are no more, we move into debates. So in order to do so, I need to call for a motion. So would someone like to put forward a motion on this application? That's awesome.
Thank you, Chair. I move that we accept the officer's recommendation.
Thanks. I have a second for that. I think I should have to go over first. Emily, you'll just come in.
Yes, could I just check, Councillor Horton, we've talked about the change of the heads of terms from 10 years to 3/5, and we've also discussed a sunset clause. Do you want to include that as part of your motion?
I think as part of the motion, let's include anything else recommended, and we can discuss it in debate.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Right, open the floor to debate.
I'll start off. To me, it's relatively simple. I have a lot of sympathy for the cricket club, but it does feel like this is the overall more flexible option, and feels like it will be a better overall outcome for the village, even if it will be a worse overall outcome for the cricket club specifically. So that's why I'm supporting the motion. And in terms of the amendments, I'm trusting the legal officers on this one. So that's my view on it. other members to discuss.
Councillor Go.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, my kind of, yes, my opinion, kind of looking into that, just obviously, it was kind of, just a lucky case that there was this consultation with the residents. Because I know from my words, just sometimes you look at the situation and, just you could see it from one side, and then after consultation with residents, actually, so it looks completely different. And the fact that, just there was such a huge majority against cricket and, just for having like diverse, just facilities and amenities, just in the parish, actually, that's a huge kind of motivation, just to support their view, because obviously, just again, they people who live there, they people, just and their families who use those facilities and will use those facilities. So this, yeah, I support this application based on that, just this opinion of majority.
I mean, just in terms of my thoughts on this, I mean, this is a really unusual application, and we do have objections from Sporting, the leisure and non-leisure team, right? So that is something that normally would stand against an application like this. But I have to say, like, the description, the consultation, the level of community engagement, we spend all of our time talking about how important it is to have community engagement, to have speak to parish councils, and we have an application in front of us where that has taken place. And so, as much as I do think it's not a balanced decision, and I do understand leisure, and I do understand Sporting's objections, and I very much thank those who came and spoke in objection to this as well for answering our questions. But I mean, how can we not approve this, right? I mean, this is exactly what we go on about all the time. It's community engagement. The parish council be very clear. We've got lots of sports teams that put in their views on this. So I mean, in my view, is how can we not support this? So that's where I am anyway. So Councillor Over, do you want to
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just wanted to say, just again, one of my parishes, they made decision, and then there was huge objections from, from the residents. And then we reversed their decision based on the, just people opinion, and again, it was like probably 8%, 85% like against their decision, which was a good thing, or kind of wise, just decision to reverse their previous decision. So again, kind of, just I like here when, just on the opinion of, strong opinions of majority. So yeah, I support it.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Chair. I don't, this isn't meant to undermine the leisure officer, but we have an objection saying, this is not necessarily in keeping with the playing field strategy we go with cricket. If this application were the other way around, it was originally a football pitch which was approved, and we want to change it to sports elsewhere, I have a feeling that the objection would still be there, because I'm looking at it and it's saying in the same area we need more football pitches as well. So, and while I accept that the objection is valid, I don't necessarily think it actually made a huge impact on the decision we have to make.
Anything but Councillor Batson?
I think in response to my question, it's quite interesting that the cricket people said that lots of the people that using it as a cricketing hub would be from the rest of Oxfordshire, from outside the local area. And we must bear in mind that this is a Section 106 agreement, and it is specified to be for be associated with the development. And I think he even admitted that very few of the residents, at least in the early stage, would be using these facilities, which I think mitigates against it.
Anything further on this? Councillor Manston.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just say that I'll be supporting the motion. I would like to thank the speakers from the cricket clubs earlier, and I do hope no matter which way the vote goes, no parties will feel aggrieved about the decision, because it is clear that there is a demand for both cricket facilities and football facilities in the local area, and as Councillor Baxter mentioned as well, in a wider area as well. But for me, I think it was mentioned earlier that if the cricket facilities were to pass for a management company, there could be up to £300 was mentioned as a contribution from residents for the maintenance of the cricket facilities and the management company. And I think given that the consultation we've heard was strongly in favour of making use of the area as a multi-use games area as opposed to a cricket facility, and that for me is what swayed my view on it. But there does seem to be a greater wish in the in the village for a multi-use games area as opposed to an additional cricket facility. And for me, that's what swayed my view on it. But I do hope that nobody from the cricket club, whichever way it goes, will feel aggrieved, because it is clear that they've been running a very successful operation, as evidenced by the increase in numbers. But having said that, I'll be supporting the motion proposed by Councillor Horton.
So I think I've done, as a member of the planning committee, I have been devil's advocate as well, because that is what we have to do, and that is what I would be quite sad for the cricket club if they were left behind or anything detrimental, because both cricket and football are very important, I think, for any village, and good luck to them if they do manage to get high up in the area and have people coming to see the lovely villages and our area. So I will support this, but I just hope you don't put your dog walking anywhere near the football pitch, because we have horrendous issues in our village.
With that, I might suggest we move to a vote. As Councillor,
I was just going to say one thing, the chair, which is I sort of where I put the motion forward very quickly, accept officer recommendations on the time scale, and it hasn't been mentioned during debate, so I just wanted to check if there were, and I don't want to do your job for you.
No, of course, no, exactly right to do so.
But I just wanted to check if anyone had any strong views on that before we move to vote. From my point of view, it's what the lawyers are recommending, and it seems reasonable from that point of view to me. So
I'm assuming broadly there's consensus on that, because yeah. So I think we're happy to go with that recommendation. I can't see anyone project that, but thank you. It's good to clarify. Absolutely. With that, I'm going to suggest we move to a vote on this application. So all those in favour of the application, that is unanimous. Thank you very much to all those who spoke on that. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, Catherine, for presenting. I now move on to our next application. Yes. Let's take a 2-minute break to get water. Thank you. For those members of the public watching on YouTube, it's a little warm in here, so we do a quick water break, and hope you didn't mind too much. With that, we're going to move on to our next application, which is 42 Harding Way, and Rosanna, I believe you're presenting on this.
Thank you, Chair. This application has been referred to Planning Committee because the applicant is the local ward member. The site is 42 Harding Way in Markham. The proposal relates to a trellis-style canopy to be fixed to the rear of the property. The canopy will extend the width of the property, excluding the attached double garage. The canopy will be constructed in stainless steel with steel bracket. For reasons set out within the report, officers are recommending approval. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you very much. So we don't have any speakers registered to speak on this application. So I open the floor to questions or officer. Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. For what reason is this not permitted development?
So the trellis will extend the full width of the property. So it would have to comply with PD for side and rear extension. And that's why I said that doesn't meet PD.
Understandable. Thank you. I just thought it was a rear and I thought, well, thank you.
Are there any further? Councillor Go.
Yes, is the fact that the applicant is conflict the only reason just why this application was not okay. Otherwise, it would be a cool. Yes, thank you.
Any further? Councillor Batson.
Can I approve? Can I propose?
Go to the debate.
Can I propose the application?
And I'll second.
Okay, right. So let's move to debate. We have an applicant. We have a motion to approve the application as written, proposed by Councillor Batson, seconded by Councillor Hanaby. I open the floor to debate.
If you just reduced it a bit more, it'd be development. Pass that on, please.
Okay. So I think I can't. Council.
I think there's no objections from any technical officers. There's no objection from parish council. There's no objection from neighbours. I see no reason not to approve it.
Thank you. Right. I'll call for a vote. All those in favour of this motion to approve, that is unanimous. Okay, thank you very much. I now turn to the final item on the agenda this evening, which is agenda item 9, appeals information, which is to receive the appeals information report from the head of planning and to note that report. Any comments? Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. 2 comments if I may. So on the June report, there is a very minor error on the last item with the address. It's 108 Cumnor Hill, not 108 Cumnor Road. On the May one, I can pull it up on the, what was it? The third one down, which is listed as land to the west of Red House Farm, which matches the application number, but unfortunately the description and the parish is listed as it do not match the application number. I think 2 columns, 2 rows might have gotten squished together here. So
thank you. Evan, do you have any comments on that?
Apologies, yes, there are several admin errors in that, and thank you for pointing those out. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure those can be amended and corrected in the record. Anything else before we note this report? Can I say so noted?
Noted.
So noted. Okay. And with that, it just leaves me to thank our officers this evening. Thank you to all of our speakers, and thank you, councillors, for a really important debate. And with that, it just leaves me to close the meeting. And Lara, could you confirm the meeting has largely was ended?
Larry, are you there?
Have they gone?
Should we put it on to mute?
Yes, put it on.
Thank you. Is the live stream ended? Thank you so much. Thank you for your time this evening, Lauren. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you, everyone.